My name is Loren Stiteler. I am a licensed acupuncturist practicing in Los Angeles, California. I was moderately busy, so I wasn't starting from the beginning. I wasn't starting from nothing, but I just wanted to increase the number of patients that I had, and I wanted to do it in a way that felt authentic to me. I was feeling pretty stagnant. I felt like I was treading water, and I didn't know which direction to swim. I had invested in an SEO manager who definitely improved my visibility online, but the kinds of patients I got in from that were not particularly dedicated to me or to their recovery. Whereas if somebody was sent to me by a provider they already trusted, then some of that trust was de facto given to me. And so the quality of referral was much higher. Also, as I see myself as a legitimate medical provider, I see myself as being kind of on co-equal footing with other medical providers. So having a working relationship with medical doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, etc., meant that in a certain way, even if it was only in my own eyes, it legitimized what I did more. I knew I needed guidance, but I didn't know where to look. I had seen some other business mentorships around, but the other two that I had seen did not really feel like they aligned with me and my personal values. And what really attracted me to Chen's program was that the emphasis on networking with other medical providers. And that was the community I wanted to target because I see myself. And one of your talks showed up, I listened to that, and I really liked what you had to say. And so there really wasn't any question. It just felt good. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about the services you offer in your practice and how much you charge.
Primarily, I practice acupuncture, herbal medicine, and then some ancillary practices like tuina, cupping, gua sha, things like that. All of those are applied according to what I deem is appropriate for the particular case that comes in. So I don't itemize them and charge separately for them. I do consider myself to be more of a general practitioner. I'll treat virtually anything that comes in my door. However, I do have pathologies that I really enjoy treating. So I wouldn't quite call them specialties, but I do particularly delight in treating them. And that would be anxiety disorders, as well as digestive disorders. And also what I discovered is I really enjoy treating male reproductive problems, not reproductive, but andrology problems, swollen prostates, urinary issues, things like that in men. My initial consultations are $180 and they are 60 minutes. And in that, it's a consultation plus treatment. And then follow-ups are half-hour visits for $90. In the past, I used to do hour treatments all the time, but as everything is getting progressively expensive, to try and reduce the pain of having to raise prices for my patients, I just cut down the treatment time because I realized I could do most of what I wanted to do in 30 minutes and still have the patient be feeling great a week afterwards or 2 weeks afterwards. So I was fortunately able to offset the amount of money that I charged by reducing treatment time so that when I did raise my prices, all my established patients felt like they were getting a break.
That's a good way to do it. And you just get sharper and sharper as you practice clinically too. So you get faster and faster.
Yeah.
What has changed for you that you're excited about?
So up until this point, I had kind of had loose ideas about what I wanted, but I had just never really given it much thought. I was kind of just going through life treating patients without really any motive or end goal or anything like that. The mentorship gave me a lot more clarity as to what I want to do with my career. And so I also had I have a big life change take place, which is that I'm going to be in a residency program for. And so I had to pivot kind of mid-program, but I felt like everything that I was learning in the mentorship would be completely applicable to what I want to do once I complete this mentorship, which is to really dive into becoming a continuing education teacher. This mentorship has given me really the tools that for everything before the actual teaching part, meaning like where to look for teaching opportunities, how to phrase things in such a way to make people attracted to what it is that I'm offering. And it has given me some great advice as to how to structure things within the teaching so as to make that information stay interesting and retain as many students as possible. But for me, I feel like I'm a pretty good teacher. So for me, it was actually everything before the actual teaching that I really needed help with. And the mentorship is all about that.
Awesome.
The mentorship gave me kind of a framework in which I could begin to tackle that. Because before that, like I said, I was treading water and had no idea, no direction where land, no idea where land was.
Yeah, because you also teach right now, right?
Absolutely. I'm a professor at Yosan University, which is in Culver City, California, though I am going to be basically on sabbatical from that as well because I'll be in this residency program out of state. I taught the history of medicine, and then I've also taught clinical case studies, Taoism 3, advanced orthopedics, a tongue and pulse intensive, and I supervise one shift a week at the university clinic.
What would you say you enjoyed most about the mentorship experience?
Really getting some one-on-one time with Chen, with you, being able to ask you questions and get your feedback, especially being able to rely on your personal experience building your own businesses. I also really enjoyed how structured it was, that it turned something such as like reaching out to other providers or creating a talk which I could then use to talk to other providers, from this kind of big, scary, abstract thing that I had no clue of how to approach into something that was really simple, and orderly, easy to implement. So that was really, really nice. Mainly just transforming something that seemed daunting to something totally manageable was probably the most valuable thing about participating in the mentorship.
Awesome. What sparking your interest in teaching other practitioners or acupuncture?
My interest in teaching other licensed acupuncturists and other providers comes from having a pretty unique understanding of my own field. Before I started studying medicine, I studied Mandarin Chinese. I even studied abroad in Beijing, China. And I did so because I have had a lifelong love and appreciation for traditional Chinese culture, and I had a lifelong dream of being able to speak Mandarin. So little did I know that that would actually set me up for success in my field, because obviously being able to speak and especially read Chinese means it's given me access to literature that doesn't exist in the English literary tradition. That is one that is heavily influenced by historical and philological research into medical literature that may not be accessible to people who do not have some understanding of the Chinese language. So what that means is what I saw or what I see happening in the field appears to be incongruent or inconsistent with kind of thousands of years of medical history. And to kind of quote you, what you said at the beginning of this interview was that, and to paraphrase Sir Isaac Newton, if I have seen far, it's because I stood on the shoulders of great people. And Chinese medicine has 2,000 years of great people. So why don't we want to stand on their shoulders? And the only way to do that is to have a really clear understanding of what it is they are saying. And if we have that, then we don't have to reinvent medicine as we go along.
Wonderful. What would you say how was it to have the done for you templates and scripts?
The templates in particular were really useful because it just allowed me to prioritize certain pieces of information that, as the talker or the provider, I don't really know what it's like to be on the receiver's side of it. And so I know the kinds of things I would like to hear about, but the things that I would like to hear about they're really niche. And so if I saw some really sophisticated title for something, I'd be titillated. But the average person is not really going to know what some sophisticated subject within ancient Chinese medicine is going to be. And so they're not necessarily going to be really attracted to that. And so having a framework that is really based off of your experience as to what really works in capturing someone's attention, be it from provider or to layperson, was a way for me to bridge that that ignorance or lack of understanding as to what an audience really wants.
What would you say this mentorship experience was like for you?
It's mainly it was having a starting place as to like a first step to quote Lao Tzu, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And I feel like this program gave me more than one step, the first few steps in being able to direct me in the kinds of ways that I needed to kind of jump from the abstract like realm of ideas into actual practice.
What would you say the experience was like for you in like there being other practitioners as part of the mentorship also?
It was great, firstly, to just not feel alone. I think one of the common experiences that I was told when I was still in school, and now I've experienced myself, is that once you're out in private practice, it's pretty private. It's a kind of a lonely experience unless you do a really good job of keeping connections with your classmates, which I haven't. So being surrounded by people, also not just acupuncturists, but in other professions, was great in just making me feel like I wasn't tackling this problem by myself. I think it was also really great to have the perspectives of people outside of my own field, again, to try and get that outsider perspective, because acupuncturists are going to want to listen to what acupuncturists want to listen to, but that may not be the same for naturopaths or for dietitians or for a psychotherapist. And so having their opinions and perspectives to bounce ideas off was very useful.
How is this different for you than other business trainings you've had in the past?
The other business training I did was an online training program, or like a recorded training program, so it wasn't live, and it didn't feel like it gave me the steps really clearly of like what I should do and what I should do next. It gave me some good ideas, but I needed something actionable, and I just didn't feel like what I got from it was particularly actionable in my own life. The other thing too is it relied a little bit too heavily on metaphysical ideas that I just didn't gel with. And so it didn't feel very comfortable for me to be trying to practice a system that like on a philosophical level I didn't agree with. And so the nice thing with your program, Chen, is that it was like non-denominational, if I could say that. So it worked for me.
What are you excited about with it, the vision that you have for your practice looking ahead?
The nice thing is that as I enter into this residency program, my schedule is going to be lighter than it's been in private practice, which means I'm going to have a lot more, I shouldn't say a lot more, I'll have more free time to be able to work on some of these educational projects. So putting together lectures and proposals for different online teaching platforms is quite exciting. I even have a book idea that I want to start kind of organizing and maybe even drafting as I'm away. And really all of this teaching plus the residency program is in service of a longer term goal, which is to create my own teaching clinic where I can create what would be the equivalent of a TCM residency program, so that when people get out of school feeling like they don't know what on earth they're doing, they can come and learn really quality medicine and then be able to go out into the world and really effectively treat a lot of what comes in through their doors.
That's awesome. Love that vision of yours. If you knew now what you knew then, what advice would you give?
Be more organized, but especially in like have a clear understanding of what it is. What are my goals down the line? How much money do you want to make? How many patients do you see a week? What are other streams of revenue I'd like to encourage or acquire? All of these things were things I'd heard people say it's important to do it. I just never did it. And then now being in the program, I got a lot clearer on what it is that I want to do. And just having a clearer picture meant that I was able to take steps in that direction. It's kind of hard to do anything to build something if you don't have a blueprint. And so now I feel like now I have a blueprint in a way I never had before.
Awesome. What would you say to someone who might be on the fence?
That it's worth it. That also, like, the other thing about the other mentorship program that I looked into, it was a lot costlier than Chen's. So I would say it was absolutely worth it. It was worth the amount that I paid for it. I felt very attended to. Even when I had some health issues take place during the program, I felt that I was tended to nicely throughout that. I felt like I got enough time with Chen to bounce off ideas with her, that I got enough time with my peers in the mentorship to bounce ideas off of them. And that really, I got through that program feeling way clearer than I did. And so I thought it was a really good investment to make.
Wonderful. And any final words of wisdom that you like to share with anyone who's listening?
It's a lot less scarier than you think it is. Everything seems really big when you just don't know where to start. But once you know where to start, it's much easier to then kind of take small steps in the direction you want to go.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Loren, for taking the time to share. And it's so wonderful to hear about your journey to residency now, and then also wanting to start teaching more in this way, because you've got some juicy things coming up that you'd love to teach other acupuncturists. And so excited to see that unfold for you. So congratulations, and thanks so much for being here. And for those of you who are in a place in your practice where you might feel like you're either at a plateau, or you just feel like something's bubbling up inside you, that you're capable of so much more and you would love to be growing to that next level in your practice, but just aren't sure which way to go or how best to do it, then feel free to go to introvertedvisionary.com and book a free chat with us, and more than happy to see how we can help you grow faster to a practice that it's really fulfilling for this next level for you. So thanks for joining us, and see you soon.